Alright guys, welcome back to Mr. Post Frame. This is the Solo Barndo Build. Today's show is going to be about our underslab hydronic heat prep. But before we get going, you guys, we have created some really good resources. We have an interactive budget sheet. We just released our new planning guide, which is based off of our self-building experience, our GC experience, custom building experience. Check out our patron group if you are a self-builder or want a self-GC. By joining that, you get discounts on the products that we have created. And we have design services. Our design company is back40buildings.com. So if you want to design your own barndominium or anything like that, check that out. Before we get started, I told you guys at the beginning of this, if I didn't do something, I would include the time. So the underslab plumbing and electrical was completed by 2 guys in 1 day. So it was about 8 to 10 hours that they had in it. So that's about 20 hours with 2 guys. So I just wanted to drop that in there so you had that information. These are experienced guys, so if you've never done it before, it might take you a couple days to complete it. But let's go ahead and jump into the hydronic underslab prep. Alright, this morning I put the rest of this house wrap on this end wall up quick. Got this leveled out, compacted, all our insulation down. Now we're just going to blow this out and then tape it. And we start laying our tubing. Alright, so we have all of our insulation down, and boy does it make it look amazing. Got it all taped except for the edges. I'm waiting, I'll probably do that this evening. I just want to make sure while I have help I can get all these loops down. So I have this string line. There's 2 zones, one in the house, one in the garage. So I have a string line across here where there's a wall. You can see it, it's hard to see. And so now when I'm running my PEX, I know that I got to stay on that side for one zone, this side for the next zone. The next thing, if your in-floor heat system is going to go on an interior wall, you have to build some kind of temporary contraption to house all your lines while the concrete's being poured. So this is what I typically do. Bring a 2x6 off just above the finished floor. My EMT conduits will come up, they can pour right underneath this, and then I can remove all of this. But this will hold everything in place while we're pouring. So I'll give you a good look at how I did this. I just put some 45 braces on to keep it where I want it. That line right there is where I wanted my lines, my in-floor heat lines to pop up in the utility room. So that should work out perfect. So what I do, this insulation has these 6-inch grids, so we run it on a 12-inch pattern. So we'll just start here. We'll run around, and we'll go back and forth and return. And we'll just keep doing that until we get back to the manifold. Then we'll never have any crossed lines or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and start running our loops. It's 11:40. So we'll probably run one and then go eat lunch. Alright guys, so we're going to talk about the staples and the tool I use to put my in-floor heat down. I use the Malco FBA SN. And then I use the Malco 2.5-inch staples, barb staples. I figure every 2 feet I put a staple. So if you have 10 300-foot loops, you times that. 10 times 300 is 3,000. Divide that by 2, and that's the number of staples that you are going to roughly need. It works out pretty good to do it that way. So we'll put one every 2 feet. This insulation makes it amazing because those are 6-inch grids. So every 4 squares you put a staple. Makes it quick, fast, easy, and not a whole lot of thought goes into it. Since this has your vapor barrier built in, it's built in on both sides. So when you have these staples, it's not going to affect your vapor barrier, but you do have to tape all the same. So every 4 feet, you're going to have a taping seam. We went around and taped all the corners. So there is more taping involved than if you were going to lay down plastic. However, it is a really nice, good result. I always fill the tops and the bottom with spray foam, so little pieces of rock, sand, whatever can't fall down in there and over time wear a hole in these pipes. Alright guys, so one thing that you want to do with your in-floor heat before you pour is you want to connect all of your loops together and charge them with air. So I put 50 pounds of PSI on these lines, make sure that they're holding pressure, and then during the pour I keep that pressure on, keep a air compressor handy, so if I lose my air I can turn the air compressor on and I can find out where the leak is while the pour is happening so I can fix it and not lose a line. I have had a line broke during one pour. For the most part, I've never had a problem other than that one time. I do have a patron that had it happen to him, so it can happen. This took me about 20 minutes. I just got a bunch of brass tees, a little 90 at the end, and we crimp all of these together like that. When I just put a cap on it, that's one side of a loop. It just was a short one, so I couldn't get it. And then I run them into this little device right here. I made this years and years and years ago. You can probably make them a lot simpler now, but it's just a gauge with a quick connect. It's got a ball valve on it, and then it's got a airline hose hookup, so I can put pressure on this, and I run it up to 50 psi, and I will just monitor that throughout the day, leave pressure on it over the weekend, and should be good to go. If you do have a leak, most likely at this point it's going to be in one of those connection points, one of your crimps or the gauge setup you made. That is most likely where one of your leaks is going to be occurring at this point, prior to anybody pouring or walking on this, etc. So, all right guys, that's going to be a wrap on today's show. We have all of the lines pressurized, they're holding pressure, so we are ready for concrete. That's going to be one of the next up and coming videos, so make sure you stick around and check that out. As always, we appreciate you watching. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, share us with your friends, and we will catch you on the next video.